welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Inge and I'm a passionate knitter and knitwear designer located in Denmark. As you can see from the decor today, I'm all into the Halloween mood. I simply love the seasons of the year and all the traditions that go along with them. So I've been busy doing Halloween hats here. You see the one in the background called the Spooky Spirits hat by the designer Debbie Kershaw. And I will let you in on some of the small challenges I had, especially also doing the pom-pom. It's been a while since I made pom-poms. Right next to it you see a cardigan, and this is a new design in the making, a line extension of my tree trunk sweaters published earlier this year. And we will look at some of the finishing details of this design. You also see a stack of Lacy Cable Tee here in the background, also some of the mannequins here behind me. And I'm so happy to tell you that I have now published also the plant fiber edition of this design. But how come it took a bit longer than the mohair edition? Yeah, well, I will let you in on the absolute final challenges I had with this design. So we will have a look at it. If I should say a common theme for this podcast, maybe it would be quality assurance. I got this mug from a former job in pharma business, and it's all about checking and doing the things so that it looks just right like you want it. And when I make a design, I do not publish it right after the testing phase and doing the photo shoot and everything looks nice. I want to wear the design for some time so that I can see if something changes to the design. Either it's due to the yarn properties or due to my design, so that I learn and get wiser and can incorporate these things in the design. You could say make the design clever for hours, months, and years of wear. So let's look at some of the things that I've done to achieve my goal. So without further ado, let's get to it. Halloween is not really a Danish tradition. It's more like we watch a lot of American movies and adapt more of the American traditions. So we love the spookiness, the carving out of pumpkins and dressing in costumes. So yeah, we have kind of a similar concept, at least when it comes to the costumes. In February, we have what we call fastelavn. And here the children dress out in costumes and walk from door to door to trick candy from neighbors. But the spooky element is not the focus theme of this event. And actually it's rooted way back in our history from once we were a Catholic country, because 40 days before the resurrection of Jesus, the miracle happening, we started fasting, no food. And the evening before, we had a big feast, the fastelavn, where we had a big meal and a lot to drink before starting the fasting period. And the story goes that men of the village, they were horseback riding from house to house, collecting different food ingredients and meals so that you could have a common meal for the whole village and have quite a feast, and I guess also a bit to drink. So that's how it went back then. But later on in history, when we became Protestants, we skipped the fasting, however kept the feasting. So there you go, the Danish fastelavn. But let us look at this spooky spirits hat. Isn't it cute with all these small spirits or ghosts dancing around? I guess it's in a graveyard, so I don't know if it's a baby or toddler friendly, but here you go. I made it anyway. And I gifted the boys theirs yesterday and they really liked them. So we had a boys' day out and visited a show with a favorite television star, and afterwards we had a feast here back home and had something to eat, and were finding candy in the garden that we had hidden, and they got the present with these hats. So we had such a great day. And the number of hats is growing that I have to make because the number of grandchildren is growing. We have this year gotten 2 new grandchildren, and the little one, Flora, is only 2 weeks old now, and she is the little sister of Robin. So I have to make these hats from a month old to 4 years old. So that's much fun. So I saw this pattern from Debbie Kershaw. I just loved it from the moment I saw it. And she recommends using the yarn Charisma from Drops. And I thought, well, this is a very good opportunity to de-stash a bit, because I had some Charisma yarn. And I had this gray and white and burnt orange here. I thought this would be a nice hat. So I started making the hat, and here you go, here it is. So when looking at it, there were 2 problems. First of all, the gauge, because this hat actually matches the head of my husband, so it's become his hat now. And the other thing is that this burnt orange here, I thought it would look better on the gray, but it doesn't. I think maybe I should have had a black background, but I just thought for children I wouldn't use black. But then I thought, well, what to do, because I guess when I knit in color work, I knit looser than most people, and I knit looser than I do the plain stockinette stitches. So I thought, well, if I should get gauge with this yarn, I should probably go down more needle sizes, and it wouldn't be right. So I thought, why not choose a yarn that I know will get gauge with this pattern. So I looked in my stash again, and I found this Drops Flora. And this time I thought, well, I don't have a gray one, but I have a black one. So let me try out the black one. And it turned out like this. So I think it is quite nice also with this orange. It's not the burnt one, it's more bright, and I think it looks quite fine here. So I use this yarn, it's half alpaca, half wool, and I use it double-stranded for this hat. And I was able to juggle the different sizes she has and needle sizes to get the gauge for the different sizes here. And I guess for little Flora, I will use only single-stranded because, yeah, she is so tiny, very tiny, and so beautiful. Oh, so cute. Back to this hat and to the pom-poms. You see here a pom-pom on this hat. And don't you think it looks quite oval? Yeah, well, I think it does. And it's because I had a bit of a struggle making these pom-poms, because back in the day when I was a child making pom-poms, we cut out a cardboard and had a circle, and yeah, I will put in a picture of how it was done back then. But nowadays you have gadgets for everything, don't you? So I bought some and tried to figure out how to use these, and I'm almost embarrassed to say I'm a scientist. I'm an engineer, a master in engineering, and I had a bit of a trouble figuring out how to do these. So I have made a movie here how I do these pom-poms and what was the problem leading me to these oval pom-poms. So let's have a look at the movie. I have lined up the pom-pom makers for you to see here. I have 4 sizes, and I started with this one and went my way down for the smallest size because I was actually very surprised with the size. So this diameter here brings this ball. It sits like this on. So I guess, I don't know how come they get oval. Yeah, well, maybe it's because I fill in too much yarn here, because I saw one video with a demo And she said, make sure to fill up the full hole. But I think if you do, the strand gets longer in the middle. Yeah, it's technical. But anyway, it takes some practice, I would say. One other thing is the yarn consumption, because this nice pom-pom here, it ate almost one full bullet skein, 50 grams. So two things here. It is rather heavy for a child's head or even an adult head, I think. And the other thing is, oh, it breaks my heart, or to trim all this. Use so much yarn for this nice looking pom-pom, but even so, and in order for me to make it all circular or a ball, I have to trim quite a lot, and trimming all this yarn away to waste. Yeah, but I guess that's how it is. But the smaller it is, I guess the less trimming and the more circular kind of it gets. And the most mesmerizing thing is when you have wound it all up and you have to cut it. Let's have a closer look at this gadget here. So it's kind of intuitive that you have to place these over the holes here so they kind of fit together. But then what about these clips here? Yeah, when you are going to make the pom-pom, you have to open these ones, because then they go apart, and that's what you need when you are going to wind the yarn around it. So when you have done the winding, you close them and place on the clips again, and then you can cut here in between the plates here. So let's just do it to get going, and maybe show you what I did with the error here to give me these very oval balls. I haven't trimmed them yet because, as I said before, it breaks my yarn waste heart. But I want it to be totally round ball, so I will do it eventually. Okay, so I'm using this Drops Flora yarn. It's alpaca and wool that I use for the hat, and I used it double stranded, so I will do this as well here. And I just start at the 1/2 circle here, trying to hold these together. Yeah, let me show you. I think I found a way of doing it, using my thumb here to pull it over right away to get me the same radius on the yarn here. This one was sitting like this, so when it splits open, I think my problem was that I was told to fill up the hole so that it is aligned with the plates here, but I'm not sure it's a good idea. Maybe I should stop here and let's see if it gets less oval. Yeah, I think I will stop here, cut the yarn, and then do the other one in exactly the same way, and then we will meet when I close up this gadget here. Yeah, so now I need to close these, you see here, so the white goes down here, and the same over here, like this. And now for the fun part. Start cutting. I can feel the edge between the two. Look. Yeah. I think it looks more spectacular with the larger balls. I think so. Maybe I have been too much of a yarn saver with this one, but you know, you have to practice to get wiser on how it works, don't you? So now I need to fasten the ball here. So I just tighten very much the best I can and tie some knots and do it, yeah, until you feel like it's secured. And then you can cut the end and open the device here. Let's see. So now I open these again. It's not that they are very tight. And then I can split them here like this. And here you go, your small pom-pom. Yeah, I think my theory holds. This is a more like a round shape, isn't it? Even without trimming. And this one is more oval. I use much more yarn for this one. I think it's fine. So I will now cut this end and use this one for the hat. Or maybe I could do it otherwise. I don't need much more than this one. Yeah, we have to save yarn where we can. So here, let me move this away. We can start trimming. You know, you can keep trimming and then suddenly you're sitting with a a very small pom-pom, because you should a little bit here, a little bit there, and suddenly there's no yarn left. Yeah, I guess this is how it looks now, and it is lighter, of course, and it is more round than this one. So yeah, lessons learned for me. Don't fill up the full hole here, because then you will get an oval one and you will use far too much yarn and have to trim it back, and it's simply a waste of yarn. Yeah, that was all pom-pom making for today. Yeah, so lessons learned now. Now I know how to make pom-poms using less yarn and getting them all round. So that's nice. Let's move on to the next topic, the cardi. When I made the pattern for the tree trunk sweater, I already during this design had 3 more line extensions in my head. So first of all, one with short sleeves and a bit rounder and deeper neck to go for a summer tee. So we ended up with the Lacy Cable Tee, so a small twist to the stripes here. And then my next one was a cardi, and this is in the making now. And the third one is a dress, because one of my nieces would like a dress out of this tree trunk sweater. And I think when making a dress, we could make many nice details for the body and be a very cozy dress to wear. So yeah, this is what is in line here. Let's have a look at the finishing details before we dive into the construction. So as you can see, I have this 3+1 ribbing, just as the tree trunk sweater, but this time I've added in a small horizontal line here before the hem and the cuff, and also the button band. I saw this line, I guess it was a couple of years ago on Instagram, and I simply was intrigued by doing this technique. And I'm so sorry that I didn't save the reel. I've promised myself to do so that I can praise the designer that taught me a new technique. But unfortunately I didn't. And I also saw that one of my testers, Ina, used this on her tree trunk sweater earlier on. So I thought this looked very nice. So I would try this out. And I think actually it works well. You can see also here at the hem and at the button band or neckband here. And it runs all the way down here on the sides. However, you cannot see it here so well because here it is in the same knitting direction with the stitches. So it's more like when they go in a 90-degree angle to the knitwear, you can see it well. Yeah, let's look at the button band again, because I have made just like the tree trunk sweaters, I have used the Italian bind off technique. However, here I've made a small variation to the bind off because I would like to be kind of a ending here with a small elevation, so that there's an elevation here and also here when you do this line of knit stitches. I get kind of a ridge here, so that it encloses the band in both sides, and you can see the button is here in between. So I find this kind of a very nice detail. So in order for me to get it just right, like I like the small finesses, this is what I've done here. Yeah, and then I chose a rather maybe perhaps big button for a child. It's a 1-inch button, 2.5 centimeters. But I actually think this one is fine, and it's a size 3 to 4 years old. So going to the construction, yes, I start making the design in children's sizes, because when I have a miniature, I can figure out the design and then it's easier for me to scale to adult sizes. So I would like this construction to be a mix of the shoulder construction made for the male and the female edition. In the male edition of my tree trunk sweater, I work the back first, then I pick up stitches here at the shoulders, make the front pieces and join them at the underarm to work in the round. In the women's edition, it is joined earlier on because it is joined already here when I pick up stitches at the shoulder to connect the back and the front pieces, and then again it's connected at the underarm. But so this is different, and I wanted this cardigan to be the latter one where I pick up stitches at the sleeve cap. So can you just take a pattern then and just make a cardigan out of it? Yeah, I thought so, that it would be rather easy. And yeah, well, somehow it is, but not because when you do the back here of the men's, the male and the children's edition, I have to shorten the back width a bit because I want the cut here with the sleeve. And if I used the pattern and simply just picked up stitches here to go along, it'll be too wide on the shoulders. So I have kind of to adjust a bit and figure out the number of stitches and the shoulder width, of course, and all of this. It is easier when you do the other construction. So this is a bit tricky. However, when it comes to making the V-neck and so on, I have been through all the counting and calculations and design puzzles with the Lacy Cable Tee, so it was actually quite easy for me to do this one. So yeah, and it is easier counting when it's 4 pattern repeats, so it's easier to scale the sizes. So now I will do this children's edition, and you know the drill. I have to do the Excel and the Word pattern, and I have started writing the pattern, then the testing, and so on and so on. So the wearing part perhaps is a bit shorter here because we have worn the tree trunk sweaters for years now, and they are just as nice as when I knitted them up. Let me just find one and show you how lovely this yarn. I still keep being amazed about this Viking Eco Highland wool. Just a second. I found it. Here it is. And it's almost 2 years old now. Robin is 4 and I made it for him when he was 2 years old, a bit oversized to grow in. And look, I am so amazed. Look at the stitch definition, just as if I have newly made it. And I washed it a couple of times and used the lint remover a couple of times, not more. I think it's 2, maximum 3 times. And I'm not even done it here before showing you. I must say this is one of the better yarns, the Viking Eco Highland wool. I'm very impressed with this yarn. So once you figure out the design that it widens, of course, when it's a ribbed pattern, and sometimes some of these colors may shrink depending on the color or the dyeing of the wool, then you have a sweater for lifetime, I would say. So yeah, again, let's have a sip and a praise for quality assurance of this yarn. Because I must say, this yarn, this is just me. While we are at it, quality checking after lots of wear, I promised to get back to you with a Drops Daisy I have used for another line extension, the Twisted Forest sweater with a 4+1 ribbing here. And I have, he has worn it equally much as this one because it's very soft. It's a lovely soft and elastic yarn, and first and foremost, it's non-superwashed. You know, I had this period, I still have, chasing non-superwash wool without the plastic coating of the yarn, and as natural as I can. This is great. So what I have done here on this sweater, half of it I have treated with the lint remover, and half of it you see without the treatment. And I guess before this treatment here, I've done it a couple of times as well. But it's for you to see how much pilling you will see on this one. It is a lot, really a lot. And it doesn't look nice, does it? So I think with this quality yarn, you have to use the lint remover more. But look, you can, and when you do, it looks just as good as new. So I think these qualities with the non-superwash wools, you just have to expect to use the lint remover more, but it is very nice wearing, and cozy, comfy, soft. Yeah, I can praise it forever. So I think I will feel confident now using this yarn for the design, because I know it will work with months and years of wear, as long as you just use the lint remover. Then it keeps its shape, and you can see the stitch definition here is still very good. So thank you also, Drops Daisy, nice quality yarn for this design. Let's move on to another topic. Here's the stack of different Lacy Cable Tees in the plant fiber edition, which evolved during the design. So let me show you how come it took a bit longer to finalize this pattern compared to the mohair edition. And I will shortly change my knitwear here. I will wear one of the first prototypes and then the final one, so that you can see what difference it makes to wear the garment for some time and see what happens. Just a second. I have changed garment to the Lacy Cable Tee in this plant fiber edition, and in a minute I will change to the one that is in the pattern right now, so that you can see with your own eyes the difference, the last changes I made to the design. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen my photo. I was all over the top when I done this design. I had cracked the nuts and all the challenges with the design that I talked about in earlier episodes. So I was so happy and ready for a testing soon. I started wearing the tee. And I attended one family party, and And I must have looked very proud because I was about this design, and they also said, wow, what a lovely design. But one of them said, well, doesn't it look a bit tired? And it wasn't until I got back home I was thinking, what was the meaning? Because, you know, at a party a lot is going on, and I didn't think of it. But when I got back home, I thought, well, what does he mean? Because I take very much care in choosing a yarn that is not too heavy, because I know for my size and bigger sizes, if you choose a yarn too heavy, it may drag you down and look not so nice. And I don't think this one does it. I've made more tees in this yarn, the Drops Bell. It couldn't be that problem. So it wasn't until I saw the pictures from the party that I realized, wow, she's right. It does look tired. And what happened was that the design got wider here at the V-neck and deeper. And ooh, I had just called out for test knitters, so in a moment of last minute changes, I did a recalculation of the pattern and changed the sizes so that it would be smaller here and fit nicer in the long run. And then I sent out for testing. But it turned out to be a bad idea, because once the testers started with this one, they reported back to me, yeah, it seems a bit narrow at the shoulders. I will choose a bigger size, then it fits, but it seems I usually do this size, but it is too small for me, and so on. And I thought, well, that's not good. So I simply had to do a timeout break and look and revisit my pattern and think it through. And one of the tools from my business industry is root cause analysis and 5 times why with problems. So I started all my structured problem solving. And it turned out that actually the solution is very simple. It wasn't a matter of resizing the whole tee like I did in a hurry before the testing. It was simply a matter on how you pick up the stitches for the V-neck to make it look good in the long run. So let me take on the tee of the pattern so you can see the difference. So here you are, the final edition in the pattern, and as you can see, it is more gathered here. I don't know the right English word, but it keeps its shape. I worn this also a lot, and it sits where it should. So actually at start it was a bit of a puzzle to me how come it would be deeper, the V-neck, because in general this kind of plant fiber yarn will shrink during wash, and I would expect it to raise, but it didn't. And as I said, it turned out to be a very simple solution. So every size in the pattern has its own way of picking up stitches here to keep it looking nice after hours and months and years of wear. So again, thanks to quality assurance and checking and seeing that we get everything right before a pattern is released. So I am so happy with the design now, and you can see more is in the making. The white one is a gift, so this will soon be packed and shipped. And I have a purple over here, and this is because I'm so happy with the European construction, the European shoulder construction, and also this design, that I thought, well, if I could choose a yarn which is a bit more elastic, like a wool, maybe some of these challenges I foresee, however solved, would be different. So I picked this yarn, also Viking, but bamboo. It is very elastic. I guess I've shown it in other episodes, at least at the other channel, where I talk about yarn alternatives for this tee. However, this one will be 24 stitches and not 21 stitches as this one, so it is a rescaling of the pattern. and I've done it to make one for myself over here. Let me just take it on so you can see it. Here it is, the purple color. What do you think? It's been a while since I've had a purple garment. I think I was in my 20s, and in this period I took much care into having the family match in colors. So we went to a party in Brussels, and my husband wore a jacket or suit with a little nice purple stripe in it, and my son had purple slacks and I had a purple dress. And we got a lot of compliments, I would say. So, but I haven't worn it since. But now I saw this one, whether or not it was nostalgia, or I actually think this looks nice on my complexion. And when I saw this purple with sequins, I simply fell in love, and I had to do one in purple for myself. So actually, maybe you can't see it, but I have more whips ongoing with the Lacy Cable Tee, because I'm not done with this design. I simply love it. It sits so well on different body types, and I've gotten so much nice feedback. So if you are also on the other channel supporting me there, thank you very much. Inge's Knitting Lab Along is growing, and steadily growing, I would say, and I'm showing the videos on how to do the tee. And actually I think I have found kind of my modus operandi on how to do them, because in the first couple of minutes I give you the overview. So if you're an experienced knitter, you know what to do, and you can skip the rest. If you are more intermediate or beginner knitter, or just curious, you can go on in the video and I will show it on the needles and so on. So I actually think this is working well, and some of the videos have become more popular. And I think it's because I've found new ways of doing pickup stitches in plant fiber yarn. I haven't seen others do it like that. So in order to avoid some of the problem areas where you get strain when wearing a garment. So if you're curious and haven't seen it, try out episode 9 and 10 on the other channel. Maybe it's also something for you. If you have been on the channel before, thank you very much for your support, and I very much look forward to seeing all the different colors and variations of this Lacy Cable Tee, because a lot of patterns is out there. So I'm very curious, and I have also started this knit along group on Ravelry. So if you're making the design, let's meet up there and have a chat of joys and challenges with the design. I'm always here to help you. Yeah, I guess this is enough said about the Lacy Cable Tee for now and for good, or I don't know, but let's have a sip of tea and enjoy the Halloween season and our knitting, the coziness, and yeah, simply enjoy. So until the next episode, have a nice knitting life and life in general, of course, and enjoy your family. Roger and over from Inge's Knitting Lab. Bye bye. Cheers.